The night was cold and silent. A thin fog moved slowly across the small human town. Most houses were dark, their windows shut tight, their doors locked. But in the middle of the empty street, a little girl was walking all alone. Her eyes glowed. Faintly in the darkness, not like human eyes, but like stars hidden under her lashes. She was not an ordinary girl. She was alien. Her name was Lyra. She was only 12 years old, but her heart carried the weight of someone much older. Her feet were bare and bleeding. Her small hands clutched her torn cloak tightly as the cold wind bit into her skin. Lyra whispered softly to herself, "Please. I just need a home. I just need a father." Only hours ago, she had been pushed out of her stepmother's ship. The woman's voice still rang in her head, sharp and cruel. "You are useless, Lyra. You are not my blood. Go and live with thee. Humans, I don't want to see your face again." The ship had left her outside the human town, and the sky had swallowed it whole. Since then, Lyra had walked with tears on her cheeks, her heart heavy with fear. She had no food, no friends, no family. Only the memory of her real father long gone, lost to war. As she walked past the quiet houses, she stopped in front of a small wooden home at the edge of the town. A single light glowed faintly through the window. Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly. She was scared. What if the human inside screamed? What if they called soldiers? What if they hated her glowing eyes the way her stepmother did? But hunger pushed her forward. Loneliness pushed her forward. She lifted her small fist and knocked on the door. Once, twice, 3 times. For a moment, there was silence. Then heavy footsteps moved inside. The door creaked open and a tall man stood in the doorway. His face was tired, his beard unshaven, his clothes rough and old. His eyes narrowed as he saw her. "What are you doing here?" he asked in a deep voice. Lyra lowered her head. "Please, sir, I need a home. Be my dad. I won't misbehave. I promise." The man froze. He had expected a beggar child or a thief, but not this. His eyes dropped to her glowing ones, and his body stiffened. You're not human," he whispered. Lyra took a step back, afraid he would slam the door, afraid he would call others. She had seen humans fear her kind before. She whispered again, voice shaking, "Please, I will be good. I won't cause trouble. I only need someone to care." The man said nothing. His eyes softened for a second, but then his jaw tightened. He had lived alone for years, hiding from his own painful past. He had no space in his heart for anyone, especially not for an alien child. "Go away," he muttered, trying to close the door. But Lyra dropped to her knees and grabbed the edge of his coat. Tears rolled down her cheeks, shining under the weak lantern light. "Please, I have no one. My stepmother threw me away. If you send me back into the night, I will die." The man's chest tightened. He hated weakness, yet the girl's words pierced through his walls. His own daughter long ago had died in a fire. He had never forgiven himself, and now, before him, was another child, begging with the same desperate eyes. He stepped back, slowly. "Get up," he said at last. His voice was rough, but not cruel. Lyra lifted her face, hope glowing in her eyes. "You mean, I can stay?" "I didn't say that," the man muttered. "But you can come inside, just for tonight." Her heart jumped. She stood quickly and walked inside, her small feet leaving red marks on the wooden floor. The room was dark, filled with old furniture and the smell of dust. A fire burned low in the fireplace. Lyra sat close to it, stretching her cold hands toward the warmth. For the first time in hours, she felt safe. The man watched her silently. Something about her reminded him of the child he had lost. He shook his head, trying to push the thought away. "Don't touch anything," he said. Lyra nodded quickly. "I won't. I promise." Minutes passed in silence. The fire crackled. Outside, the wind grew stronger. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, tired and weak. She almost smiled. Maybe this human could really become her father. Maybe she could finally belong somewhere. But then, a sound broke the silence, loud, heavy. Footsteps outside the house. The wooden porch creaked under weight. Then 3 sharp knocks on the door. Lyra's eyes flew open. Her heart stopped. The man looked at the door, then at her glowing eyes. "Did someone follow you?" he asked in a low, tense voice. Lyra's lips trembled. She whispered, "Yes, they found me." The knocks grew louder, shaking the wooden frame. Whoever was outside was not human. The man clenched his fists. He had only just let this strange girl into his home, and now danger was already here. The door rattled again as a deep voice from outside growled, "Give her to us now." The night was no longer silent. The wooden door shook with every knock. The sound was heavy, like fists made of stone. Inside, the fire flickered, throwing nervous shadows on the walls. Lyra pressed her small hands to her glowing eyes, trying not to cry. The man stood frozen for a moment. His name was Daniel. He had faced danger before wars, soldiers, fire, but this was different. He was alone now, and the girl who begged him for a home had brought something deadly to his door. Another knock boomed. Then a deep voice echoed from outside. "Open, human. Give us the girl. She does not belong to you." Lyra's body trembled. She whispered quickly, "It's them, my stepmother's hunters. They will take me back. Please, don't let them." Daniel's eyes narrowed. He had no reason to risk his life for her. Yet, when he looked down, he saw the terror in her face. Same fear he once saw in his own daughter before the fire took her. Something inside him refused to hand the girl over. He leaned close to Lyra and said quietly, "Hide. Under the table. Don't make a sound." Lyra crawled quickly under the wooden table, hugging her knees tight. Daniel took a deep breath, walked to the door, and slowly pulled it open. 2 tall figures stood on the porch. Their skin glimmered faint blue under the moonlight. Their eyes burned like fire. They were not human. One of them leaned forward. His voice was sharp like metal cutting stone. "We know she is inside. The girl is ours. Step aside, human." Daniel crossed his arms. "There's no girl here." The hunters sniffed the air, their faces twisted. "Do not lie to us. We can smell her blood." Daniel's heart raced, but his face showed no fear. "This is my house. There is no alien child here, only me." The hunters stepped forward, their heavy boots creaking on the porch. For a moment, it seemed they would force their way inside. But then, the taller one raised his hand, stopping the other. His eyes glowed red as he leaned close to Daniel. "You hide her. If you protect her, you will die with her. Remember this." Daniel did not move. He only stared back. Finally, the hunters turned, their cloaks dragging across the wood as they walked into the fog. Their voices echoed faintly in the distance. "We will come back." The sound of their steps faded into the night. Daniel shut the door quickly and locked it from under the table. Lyra crawled out slowly, her eyes wide with fear. "They will return," she whispered. Daniel nodded, his face hard. "Yes, and if you stay here, they'll find you, they'll kill us both." Lyra's heart sank. She grabbed his sleeve, her voice desperate. "Please, don't send me away. I will clean, I will cook, I will be quiet. I will be like a daughter. Just let me stay." Her words cut into him. He wanted to push her away, to live alone with his grief and his silence. But deep inside, a part of him long buried stirred again, the part that once knew what it meant to be a father. He looked into her glowing eyes, trembling but full of hope. He could not speak for a long moment. Finally, he sighed and said, "If you stay, you obey my rules." "Do you understand?" Lyra nodded quickly. "Yes, anything. Just don't leave me outside." Daniel turned away, rubbing his forehead. He knew he was making a mistake. He knew the hunters would come back stronger. But he also knew something else. He could not throw this child into the dark. The fire burned low as the two of them sat in silence. For the first time, Lyra felt a small spark of safety. She had begged a stranger to be her father, and maybe, just maybe, he was starting to listen. But outside, the night was not finished. A shadow moved along the edge of the trees. Eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, watching the house. A voice, soft and cold, whispered into the wind, "She is inside. The girl has found a protector. Tell the stepmother. It is time." Inside, Lyra leaned against the chair, too tired to stay awake. Daniel stared at the flames, his mind heavy with doubt. He had let danger into his home, and he knew it. But the sound of her soft breathing reminded him of something he thought he had lost forever. He whispered under his breath, almost to himself, "Maybe I can be a father again." Yet before he could close his eyes, the fire flickered strangely. The light stretched long, like fingers crawling across the floor. Daniel looked up and froze. From the window, a pale face with burning eyes stared directly at him. The next morning came slowly, but the fear of the night did not leave. Daniel had not slept. He sat in his wooden chair with his eyes on the window, waiting for danger to return. Lyra woke on the old couch, her cloak wrapped around her small body. She rubbed her glowing eyes and whispered, "They will come back, won't they?" Daniel nodded. "Yes, they always come back." His voice was heavy, carrying the weight of years of loss and battles, the memory of the pale face staring through. The window burned in his mind. Whoever it was had vanished into the fog. But Daniel knew what that meant. They were being watched. Outside, the world was quiet, but not safe. The trees moved strangely, though the wind was still. Crows circled above the house. A bad sign. Lyra sat beside him and spoke softly. "My stepmother. She is powerful. She wants me because I carry something she cannot control." Daniel turned his head slowly. "What do you mean?" But before Lyra could answer, a sound cut through the silences, sharp crack, like branches breaking under heavy boots. Then another. Then many. Daniel stood. Quickly, "They're here." He grabbed the old rifle from the corner of the room. His hands were steady, but his chest tightened. He had fought men before, but now he was about to fight monsters. The door shook violently. This time, there was no polite knocking, only raw force. Lyra screamed and hid behind the chair. "Open," a voice growled. "By the order of the stepmother, the girl belongs to us." Daniel shouted back, "She belongs to no one," and raised his weapon. The door burst open. 2 hunters stormed. Inside, their bodies tall and armored with strange silver plates. Their faces were hard and cruel, their eyes burning red. Daniel fired. The shot echoed through the house. One hunter fell back with a roar, sparks flying from his chest plate. The other rushed forward, swinging a blade that hummed with alien energy. Daniel ducked, the blade slicing wood from the wall. He swung the rifle hard, smashing it into the hunter's jaw. The creature staggered but did not fall. Lyra screamed again. Her hands glowed faintly, light spilling from her skin. "Stop," she cried. For a moment, the hunters froze, their eyes flickering as if her voice carried some hidden power. Daniel took the chance. He shoved the hunter back and slammed the door shut, locking it again. His chest rose and fell quickly. The first hunter outside shouted, "You cannot hide her forever, human. The stepmother wants what is hers." Daniel looked at Lyra. She was pale, trembling, her glowing eyes wet with tears. "What is it they want?" "From you?" he asked. Her voice cracked. "It's not me they want. It's what's inside me." Daniel's eyes widened. "Inside you?" Lyra nodded slowly. "My father. Before he died. He gave me something. A power. A secret. My stepmother wants it, and she will never stop until she has it." Daniel's stomach twisted. He had taken her in only one night ago, and already the weight of her secret was too big for him. But when he looked at her small face, terrified, yet brave, he knew he could not turn away. The hunters outside pounded the walls, their voices shaking the house. "Surrender the girl, or we will burn this place down." Daniel gritted his teeth. His home was nothing but wood and ash compared to what they carried. He could lose everything. But he would not give her up. He leaned close to Lyra. "Listen to me. If you stay here, you follow my rules. Never open the door, never show your light to anyone, and never go outside at night." Lyra nodded quickly, her heart pounding. "I promise." The hunters shouted one last warning, and then left, their heavy steps fading into the forest. But their promise to return hung heavy in the air like smoke. Daniel sat back down, his rifle across his knees. His home smelt of gunpowder and fear. He stared into the fire, thinking of what he had just seen the girls light, the hunters. Anger, and the secret she carried inside. He whispered under his breath, "What have I done? What have I let into my life?" Lyra heard him, and her small hands clenched. She did not want to be a burden. She wanted to be a daughter. She walked to him slowly, placed her glowing hand on his rough one, and said softly, "You didn't make a mistake. You saved me. Please, let me stay." Daniel looked at her hand, then at her eyes. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he sighed deeply and nodded once. But outside, in the darkness of the forest, the hunters knelt before a tall, shadowy figure. The figure's voice was cold and sharp, like broken glass. "Does she live?" the figure asked. "Yes," the hunters replied. "The human protects her." The shadow stepped forward. The moonlight revealed the cruel smile of the stepmother. "Herself. Good," she whispered. "Let her believe she is safe. Then we will strike, and take everything." The house was quiet after the attack, but the silence was heavy. The smell of smoke still lingered in the air, and broken wood from the door lay scattered across the floor. Daniel sat at the table, his rifle resting against the wall. His eyes were sharp, but his heart was tired. Across from him, Lyra sat with her small hands folded. Her glowing eyes watched him carefully, afraid of what he would say. Finally, Daniel spoke. His voice was rough. "You brought death to my door. Hunters, blades, fire. If you stay here, we both die." Lyra's lip trembled, but she didn't cry this time. She took a deep breath and whispered, "Then let me prove myself. Please, let me stay. I will work, I will clean, I will be quiet. You won't regret it. You won't regret it." Daniel's jaw tightened. He wanted to tell her no. He wanted to throw open the door and send her far away. But when he looked into her eyes, glowing softly in the dim light, he saw something he had not seen in years. Hope, like a daughter. He muttered. His chest ached. His real daughter's face flashed in his memory. Her laugh, her hand in his. Gone forever. He pushed the thought away. He leaned forward. "If you stay, you obey my rules. No questions. Lyra nodded quickly. Yes, anything. Daniel raised one finger. Rule 1. Never go outside at night. Lyra repeated softly. Never go outside at night. Rule 2. Never open the door to strangers, not even if they look human. Not even if they smile. Never open the door, she whispered back. Daniel's voice grew sharper. And Rule 3. Never show your light to anyone. If they see what you are, we are finished. Lyra placed her small hand on her chest. I promise, I will follow your rules, I swear. For the first time, Daniel felt a strange warmth inside him. The girl's words were honest, her eyes steady. She truly wanted to belong. The two of them sat in silence for a while, the fire crackling between them. For a moment, it felt almost like family. The days that followed were strange but peaceful. Lyra tried her best to keep her promise. She swept the floors, carried water from the well, and even cooked simple food with clumsy hands. She burned the bread more than once, but Daniel never shouted. He only shook his head, hiding a small smile. At night, she told him stories about the stars' worlds where rivers glowed silver and skies burned green. Daniel listened, though he pretended not to care. Inside, he felt the hollow space in his chest slowly filling again. One evening, as the sun bled red across the horizon, Lyra sat on the porch with Daniel. She looked up at him and asked softly, "Can I call you Dad?" Daniel froze. His heart stumbled. He had promised himself he would never be a father again. The pain was too deep. But as the word Dad left her lips, it broke something inside him. He looked at her long and hard. Then he turned away. "Do what you want," he muttered. Lyra smiled, a real smile this time. For the first time since her stepmother abandoned her, she felt like she belonged somewhere. But peace never lasts. That same night, as Daniel slept in his chair, Lyra awoke to a sound outside. A soft voice drifted through the window, calling her. Name? Lyra. Lyra. She froze. It was gentle, not like the hunter's growls. It sounded young, almost kind. She stood quietly, her bare feet touching the cold floor. Slowly, she moved to the window. In the shadows of the trees, she saw a figure, a boy. His skin glimmered faintly blue, his eyes soft but strange. "Don't be afraid," the boy whispered. "I'm not like them. I came to warn you." Lyra's heart pounded. She remembered Daniel's rule. Never open the door, never speak to strangers. But the boy's voice pulled her closer. She opened the window a crack. "Who are you?" she asked. The boy stepped forward, the moonlight brushing across his face. He looked no older than 15, but his eyes held secrets far older. "Your stepmother is planning something terrible. She will not stop until she gets what you carry." Inside, Lyra gasped. "How do you know?" "I've seen it," the boy whispered. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small crystal, glowing faintly with silver light. He held it toward her. "Take this. When the time comes, it will protect you." Lyra hesitated. She looked back at Daniel sleeping in the chair, then at the boy's outstretched hand. Slowly, she reached for the crystal. The moment her fingers touched it, the light flared brighter, wrapping her hand in warmth. She felt power hum through her skin. The boy's voice dropped to a whisper. "Your father gave you a gift before he died. A gift your stepmother wants. Protect it, or everything will burn." Lyra's breath caught in her throat.
Ah!
She wanted to ask more, but before she could, the boy stepped back into the trees. His figure melted into the shadows. "Wait," she called softly, but he was gone. Only the dark forest remained. She shut the window quickly, hiding the glowing crystal under her cloak. Her hands shook. She had broken the rule. She had spoken to a stranger. Daniel stirred in his chair, opening his eyes slightly. The moon hung high, silver and sharp, watching everything below like an unblinking eye. Inside this small wooden house, Lyra lay awake on the couch. Her fingers curled around the glowing crystal hidden under her cloak. Every beat of her heart whispered. The boy's words again. Your stepmother is planning something big. Protect the gift, or everything will burn. She turned her head. Daniel was asleep in his chair, the rifle leaning beside him. His breathing was heavy, steady, like thunder, rolling far away. He trusted her to obey his rules. He trusted her to stay safe. But Lyra had already broken her promise. She had spoken to the boy in the forest. She had taken the crystal. And now she carried a secret that she could not share. The next morning, Daniel noticed her pale face. You didn't sleep, he said flatly. I'm fine, Lyra answered quickly, forcing a smile. He studied her, his sharp eyes searching her glowing ones. For a moment, she thought he could see straight into her heart. But he only grunted and walked outside to cut wood, as the axe struck again and again. Lyra sat by the fire, staring into the flames. The crystal pulsed softly in her pocket, like it was alive. It filled her with warmth, but also with fear. She whispered to herself, "What are you? Why me?" The fire crackled in reply, but no answers came. That night, the boy returned. She heard his voice again, soft as the wind. Lyra, come outside. Her heart raced. She remembered Daniel's rule, never go outside at night. But the pull of the boy's voice was too strong. Slowly, she opened the door and stepped into the moonlight. The boy stood by the trees, silver eyes glowing. You kept the crystal, he said. Yes, Lyra whispered. Tell me the truth. Why does my stepmother want me? The boy's face darkened. Because you are not just her stepdaughter. You are the key to power she cannot control. Your father gave you a piece of his life, a force hidden inside you. The crystal will wake it when the time is right. Lyra's breath caught. A force inside me. He nodded. It is why she hates you. It is why she fears you. And it is why she will burn the human world if she takes you back. Lyra shook. Her head, no. I don't want power. I just want a family. I just want a father. The boy stepped closer, his voice urgent. Then protect the human. He has chosen you, though his heart still fights it. But listen carefully. When your stepmother comes again, you must choose run with him, or face her with me. There is no third path. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Why should I trust you? The boy's expression softened. A tie. Am like you. She threw me away too. I know her cruelty. I know her hunger for control. We are the same Lyra, abandoned, unwanted, but not powerless. For a moment, she wanted to believe him. But Daniel's tired face flashed in her mind his rough hands, his broken heart, his promise to protect her. Could she betray him with secrets? Could she hide the truth from the only person who had opened his door to her? The boy placed his hand over hers, and the crystal flared brighter. Keep this close. When the time comes, it will save you both, destroy you both. Before Lyra could answer, the boy stepped back into the shadows. The forest swallowed him whole. She stood alone in the moonlight, trembling, the crystal burning warm in her palm. The next day, Daniel noticed her again. Her hands shook when she tried to carry water. Her eyes darted often to the window. "What are you hiding?" he asked suddenly. Lyra froze. On nothing, Daniel slammed his hand on the table. "Don't lie to me. You're hiding something. It will kill us both." Her throat tightened. She wanted to tell him everything, the boy, the crystal, the power inside her. But fear closed her lips. If he knew, Would he send her away? Would he stop being the father she had begged for? So she only whispered, "I'm just scared." Daniel's hard face softened for a moment. He sat down beside her and placed a hand on her shoulder. "I'm scared too, but if we trust each other, we might survive this." Her heart twisted with guilt. She nodded, but inside, she knew she was breaking his trust already. That night, as the fire dimmed and Daniel drifted into uneasy sleep, Lyra held the crystal close. She looked at his tired face, the man who was slowly becoming her father, and she whispered silently, "I will protect you, even if it means keeping secrets." But outside the house, hidden among the trees, the hunters knelt before a tall figure. The stepmother's cold voice sliced through the night. "She has the crystal now," she said with a smile. "Good. When the light awakens, it will lead her straight to me." The night began strangely quiet. Too quiet. Even the crickets stopped singing, and the wind seemed to hold its breath. Daniel sat on the porch, cleaning his rifle under the pale glow of the moon. His instincts screamed at him. Something was coming, inside the house. Lyra traced the glowing crystal with her finger, hiding it under her cloak whenever Daniel looked her way. Her chest felt heavy. The boy's warning echoed in her mind. When your stepmother comes, you must choose. Suddenly, the ground shook. Cups rattled on the table. The air filled with a deep hum, growing louder, like thunder trapped inside metal. Daniel shot to his feet. "Get away from the windows," he barked. Lyra froze. Outside, the night sky was splitting open. A black ship, larger than the trees themselves, descended slowly above the forest. Its shadow swallowed the moonlight. Its engines roared like beasts. Her stepmother had come. The ship's lights cut across the land, searching, hunting. Then beams of red fire rained down, burning the ground. Trees cracked and fell, flames spreading through the forest. "Stay low," Daniel shouted. He dragged Lyra behind the table as the house shook from the blasts. The front door burst open. Hunters stormed in, their armor gleaming, their blades buzzing with alien energy. Daniel fired, the rifle exploding in his hands. One hunter fell. Sparks sprang, but two more rushed forward. Lyra screamed as a blade sliced through the table, inches from her face. Daniel swung the rifle like a club, smashing it across the hunter's jaw. Another lunged, grabbing him by the throat. "Run." "Lyra," Daniel gasped, but she couldn't move. Her body froze as she watched him choke under the hunter's grip. Her hand went to the crystal. It pulsed with heat, almost begging her to use it. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." Daniel slammed his boot into the hunter's chest, breaking free. He shoved Lyra toward the back door. "Go." They ran out into the burning forest. The air was thick with smoke, the sky red with fire. Shadows moved all around them, more hunters, more enemies, and then she appeared. Her stepmother stepped out of the smoke, tall and cruel, her black cloak swirling like wings. Her eyes glowed sharp and cold, her smile full of poison. "Lyra," she said softly, almost sweetly, "my little star. You thought you could hide from me?" Lyra stumbled back, clutching Daniel's arm. Her voice shook. "Why? Why do you want me?" The stepmother's smile widened. "Because you are the last piece of him. Your father's gift lives inside you. With it, I will rule not only my people, but this world as well." Daniel raised his rifle, fury in his eyes. "Over my dead body." The stepmother tilted her head. "That can be arranged." She raised her hand, and energy burst from her palm, striking Daniel in the chest. He flew backward, crashing into the dirt. "Dad," Lyra screamed, running to him. His body shook, but he was alive barely. His eyes opened, weak but burning with determination. "Run, Lyra, run." but she couldn't. Not this time. The hunters closed in, circling them. The stepmother stepped closer, her hand reaching out. "Come with me, child. Your place is not with this broken human. It is with me, where you belong." Lyra's tears fell, her heart breaking. For a moment, she felt the old fear, the old loneliness. But then she looked at Daniel bleeding, struggling, yet still trying to stand between her and death. And in that moment, something inside her snapped. "No," she screamed. The crystal in her hand blazed with light, brighter than the fire, brighter. Then the moon, the hunters staggered, shielding their eyes. The stepmother hissed, her smile fading. Daniel blinked against the glow, whispering, "What? What are you?" Lyra stood tall, her small frame glowing like a star reborn. The power inside her father had left was awakening. She could feel it, rushing through her veins, stronger than fear, stronger than pain. The crystal lifted from her, palm floating in the air. It spun slowly, pulsing with waves of silver light. The stepmother's voice cracked with rage. "No, that power is mine." The ground shook. The flames bent toward Lyra as if pulled by her will. The hunters staggered back. Daniel shielded his face, his eyes wide. "Lyra?" T whispered, his voice trembling with awe. But Lyra's body shook violently, the power too much for her small frame. She gasped, her knees buckling, yet she held on. Her glowing eyes locked on her stepmother. "You will never take me." Smoke drifted across the burning forest. The ground was torn, the air heavy with ash. Daniel lay on his side, coughing blood on his lips. His vision blurred, but through the haze he saw her Lyra standing in the center of the chaos, glowing. Like a star reborn, the crystal floated above her palm, spinning, pouring silver light into her small body. Her eyes blazed, her hair lifted in the energy, and for a moment she looked nothing like a child. She looked like the heir of something ancient, something unstoppable, Daniel whispered, half in awe, half in fear. "She's more than human, more than alien. She's something else." The stepmother stepped forward through the flames, her cloak snapping like wings in the heat. Her cruel smile returned. "Yes, she is mine." "No," Lyra shouted. Her voice shook the trees, cracked the ground beneath her. The hunters who had survived stumbled back, their blades flickering out. Daniel tried to stand, but his legs gave out. "Lyra, don't let her take you." The stepmother raised her hand. "Child, you cannot fight me. That gift is too big for you. Without me, it will consume you. But with me, you will be a queen." Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly. The crystal's power burned inside her, both beautiful and dangerous. She thought of her real father who gave her this gift. She thought of her cruel stepmother who cast her away. And she thought of Daniel, the man who opened his door, the man who protected her even when he had nothing left. Her glowing eyes locked on him. "I already have a family. I already have a father." The stepmother's smile twisted into rage. "Then you will die with him." She hurled a storm of dark energy toward them. Spleet. Fire exploded. Daniel threw himself forward, shielding Lyra with his body, though he knew it would kill him. But the crystal reacted. A shield of silver light erupted, wrapping around them like a dome. The dark energy crashed against it and shattered into sparks. The stepmother staggered back, screaming in fury. Daniel stared in shock. "Lyra, you saved us." But Lyra wasn't smiling. Her small body shook violently, the power too much to hold. Her knees buckled. She gasped, "Dad, I can't. It's too strong." Daniel crawled to her, grabbing her hands, his rough palms closed around her glowing fingers. "Listen to me. You're not alone. You don't have to carry it alone." Let me share the weight. She looked at him through tears. But you're only human. Daniel's eyes hardened. Then I'll be the strongest human alive if it means protecting you. The crystal pulsed once, twice, and then its light flowed into both of them. Daniel gasped as warmth rushed through his veins, filling his broken body with strength. Lyra's trembling stopped. Her glow steadied together. They stood. The stepmother snarled, "Impossible. He is nothing." Daniel raised his voice, strong again. "I'm her father, and no one takes my daughter." With that, he and Lyra lifted their hands together. The crystal spun faster, brighter, until it was a storm of silver light. The hunters screamed as they were hurled back into the flames. The stepmother tried to resist, her cloak whipping, her claws stretching, but the power consumed her. She shrieked one final curse. "This is not the end. I will return for what is mine." And then she was gone, ripped away in the blast of light, her body dissolving into smoke and shadows. Silence fell. The forest still burned, but the enemy was gone. The shield around them faded. Daniel fell to his knees, exhausted, his chest rising and falling. Lyra dropped beside him, her small hand clutching his arm. "Dad, are you okay?" He looked at her, this strange alien child who had begged him for a home, who had nearly destroyed him, and yet who had also saved him. He smiled weakly, his eyes soft for the first time in years. "I'm okay," he whispered, "because I have you." Her tears fell, but they were not of fear this time. She leaned against him, whispering, "Thank you for being my father." Daniel wrapped his arm around her, holding her close. "It's a promise. As long as I breathe, I'll protect you. That's what fathers do." For the first time since her real father's death, Lyra felt safe. She felt wanted. The hole in her heart was no longer empty, but far away. In the shadows of another world, the boy with silver eyes watched through a dark portal. His face was calm, unreadable. "She chose the human," he whispered. "Good. But one day, she will have to choose again." The portal closed, leaving only silence.